Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Firmbie with you, and welcome to my little corner of the interwebs. Hey, listen, what I thought we'd do with this afternoon is get back into a game that I hadn't played for some time. It's a game that really started me off this live streaming bizzo, just for your entertainment, and that's Car Mechanic 2015. I've not visited the Car Mechanic 2015 for some time. We haven't been in the garage for some time, so I thought we'd jump back into the garage and have a little bit of fun. And look, if you're around the interwebs at the moment, by all means drop by, come and say hello. If you're seeing this on replay, by all means check out this and other videos on Car Mechanic 2015. There's also videos there on 2018, as well as a whole bunch of other games as well, if you like your games. So with that, let's jump into the garage and see what sort of trouble we can get into. Now, those who haven't played before, I have done a little bit of customization around the garage. We'll just have a quick look around before we actually get into doing some work. Excuse me. Now, if you have got the certifications or the experience points to do that, you actually go to garage customization there at the ladder there, and you just click on that. And as you can see, upgrade points available. I've got 60, so plenty in the bank there. But if you're new to the game, you wouldn't have any sitting there. And it's just a matter of playing with these buttons down the bottom there. So, you know, if you like, you know, that particular wall, well, you go to that one. As you can see, sort of up on the top level there. We've got floor strips as well. You can change those to your heart's desire. Window trims, you make those whatever you feel like. And of course, those racks up the top there. I quite like the where's the silver ones? The silver ones there. I don't know what your thoughts. Look, if you've got some, if you got know a little bit about decor, then by all means let me know. If you like a particular setup in regards to how you like the garage to look, by all means let me know. And the other one here is the lifters. As you can see, the posts there for the car lifters. You can change the colours of those as well. So that's the garage customization. Just press escape to jump back out, and of course those changes that have been saved. Now, talking about those upgrade points, there's a list of upgrades that are available throughout the game to put your experience into. Look, I won't run through all those, but there is a range of them there. There's videos on my channel there that explain sort of the different ones, what they do, and what I would recommend to put your experience into if you're just into the game. So if you are new to the game, go and check that out. Check those other videos out, and as I said, just go through on what I would recommend to upgrade first, the things that you use the most, things that you don't use, that sort of thing. Now, the other additions to the game, when I say additions, that they've been in for quite some time, is a paint shop there. Again, you need to upgrade and unlock that, as well as a test path. That's probably one of the first things I would recommend to upgrade is a test path. Now, as the name suggests, you put your car into there and it tests the car, and we might even do that in a moment. Test the car and it tells you about some of the things you get into. Dead Freak Show, hello to you, good sir. Thank you very much for dropping by, man. Appreciate your company. It's great to have you on board. And I was just explaining some of the different upgrades to here in Car Mechanic 2015, man. And the other one that everyone likes to get into is the dyno. Yeah, so it doesn't take a genius to work out what that does. Yeah, so thanks for dropping by again, Dead Freak Show. It's yeah, haven't seen you for a while, man. How you been? Now, the other one too is as you get into the maintenance and building cars, basically you have two different paths you can go down, and you can take people's repairs, and that's simply done over the phone here, over at our desk. You pick up the phone and you take people's jobs. Like in this particular one here, find and fix all gearbox problems. So if we say take the job, and just got a bit of a loading screen, the old black screen of death, and that particular car will land into the garage, and of course you go and fix it. So there it is there, and we'll actually might even pop that up onto the other lifter. left one. There we go. And we'll do that at the moment. So that's a repair, as I was saying. And then the other way to go is the restorations. Now the restorations you actually obtain by clicking on that door there and going to the auction centre. There's a phone going off, like the in-game phone, not my real phone obviously. Going to the auction centre, bid for a car, and same thing, that brings it back into the workshop. So I've actually done that already for this particular one, the Mercedes-Benz 300 SL, and I purchased that at the auction actually last night. Oh, what did I pay for? About 38k, I think. So it's just dropped a little bit. It also comes in with a whole list of bits and bobs that, you know, and gives you a percentage on the condition of the car. But what we might do is just do this repair here, and give you an idea of the repair. And as an early game, that's the way you would make some money. So from memory, that is the find and fix all gearbox problems. Now, repair with parts exceeding the minimum condition of 89%. So that's a magic number, 89%. So if you happen to have spare parts in the inventory, and it's parts that they're looking for, and it meets that minimum condition, say you've got a clutch pressure plate and it's 95%, not good enough to, well, I wouldn't put a 95% part in a full rebuild. But in this particular case, obviously 95 is higher than 89. It meets the customer specifications, and you can throw it in there, and the job's out the door. So what we'll do is, let me think, as it has been some time since I've played this game, so I think the gearbox can only be accessed. You've got to take the starter. No, the starter's from the bottom. Yep, always. That always gets me. So obviously you need to take the starter mode off, the drivetrain, and then you're able to get the gearbox out. So let's click up here and get this starter off. There's can't quite reach from there. We might have to move down here a little bit. Sometimes the camera can be a little bit finicky. It's just a matter of repositioning yourself so that you can reach the part that you want. As I said, this is the first game in quite some time, so it'll probably take me a little bit to get used to the buttons again. Probably not quite as quick as I used to be. But as you can see, I've taken that starter off, taken that drive off, and now we're able to get into the gearbox and see what parts are in fact knackered. Now, as you can see, that's quite discoloured. If you wanted to go to examine, which is 3, you can examine it if you want, and by examining it, it gives you a detailed, well, I can't move my cursor, but down the bottom left hand corner, yeah, as you can see, there is the condition of 11%. And you can do that with any part there. As you can see, that's a clutch release bearing. What's that? 13%. He's got to come out. What else we've got there? Clutch plate. So if you wanted to, if you're unsure what the condition is, you're able to do that. So let's get that out. The clutch pressure plate. So 4 bolts on that. And that flywheel, I wonder if we can see the condition of that flywheel. As you can see, 93%. You can stay there. Now what we should have in our inventory, now sort by condition. I always sort by condition in regards to all the parts in the inventory, just so that you can see the ones that are knackered or a lower percentage up the top there. It just makes it easier than to, you know, scroll through your parts list. And that's one of the improvements on Car Mechanic 2018. Your inventory is a lot more better organised, but in this case, as I said, it's just like sorting by condition, just so that we're able to see to the percentage. So what we can do, I don't know whether we're able to with these parts, but we'll go over there anyway, just for the sake of an example. Go over to your repair table, and I actually spoke about the repair values. Where do we do that? Here. Repair tool. Obviously you use your repair tool at the repair table, And these are the different levels that you go through. Obviously, as you go through the different levels, increases your percentage of repair right up to 90%. So obviously now I have a 90% chance of repair should I use a repair table. So what I do is pop over the repair table, select the part that I want. You manage to repair the part to a parts condition of 59%. Excellent. Well, we want, what do we want? 89, was it? Go to the right car, stupid. That'd be a good help, wouldn't it? Let's press the right button. 89%. So we want the parts fixed up to 89%. He's only 59, so we'll try them again. Managed to repair up to 100. And that gearbox is going to be fine, obviously, over the 89 required. So let's see what we have in our inventory. So all we're going to need now is the clutch pressure plate and clutch release bearing. We should better go to gearbox, clutch pressure plate and release bearing, I think, wasn't it? And release bearing. Yep, pressure plate and release bearing, those are the two there. If we scroll right down, they're probably right at the bottom. There's a clutch release bearing and I'll be there somewhere anyway. Anyway, don't matter. It's there somewhere. We can actually, let's narrow the field down and just click on a gearbox. So we actually had a number of clutch plates in stock. I should have actually looked before I purchased it, but don't matter. We'll use them up. And there's the bearing there. So I actually got clutch plates, but not clutch pressure plates. So there's the old pressure plate. We don't need these anymore. They're just junk. So we might as well sell those off and in fact get rid of them. The easiest way to do that is if you press and hold down your shift key, return key, shift key, and just press your left mouse button, and it simply sells it out of inventory. The other way is not to press down on the shift key, is to left mouse button, and it actually gives you a confirmation warning. Do you really want to sell this? And press enter, and it sells it. So there's two ways of actually doing that task. Excuse me. So when you get further and further into it and you want to sell a number of parts there, that's the far easiest way to do it, as is press and hold your shift key down and just click away. So now we're into the section where we want to assemble, and as you can see the top left hand corner there, 1 to disassemble, obviously take them off, 2 put them back on, strange enough. Clutch plate that I didn't realise we had a stack of, pressure plate, 4 bolts that go on that pressure plate there, and a release bearing, gearbox. Quite an easy job this one, as it is just, I just want to do an example for you. Just a bit of a warm up, if you will. As I said, we haven't been into the game for such a long time. It's good to have a bit of a warm up, bit of a muck around, if you will. And while we get ourselves organised. Drive shaft, plenty of those in. Actually, we might even put an older 98% drive shaft in. They don't need a brand new one. It's only a second-hand car, so we'll hang on to the brand new ones. And that should in fact complete that that repair. Let's just drop him down. And see, in fact, so the task description: find and fix all gearbox problems. Now it gives you little green lights here when you fix that particular problem. Also, a helpful hint too, these stars here. A lot of people don't know what these stars are. If you're struggling to find where that particular part is in the car, you're able to click on the star. Let's actually go the oh, they're all internals, aren't they? That's going to be a very good example because they're internal, you won't actually see them. But what I was getting to, you can select those stars and it'll highlight them on the car. I don't think we'll be able to see that through the gearbox now that the gearbox actually have the pressure plate. Oh, it does too. There you go. So by clicking on that star, highlights that particular part on the car, whether it's internal or external. So if you're struggling to find the part, click on that star. You know, bit of a cheat, I suppose, if you will. But look, it's there, and use it if you so wish. I personally don't like it, but look, that's just me. It has helped me out of a bind a couple of times where I've especially early game, I've struggled to find the parts that I was looking for, and I remember, hey, I click on those stars, and you just walk around until you find it highlighted, and it's often tucked away in some obscure place. So we've done the repairs over or exceeding 89%, and money spent on job $213. For completing the task we got $106. Bonus for completing the job another $106. So $425 for that particular job there. So fairly quick and easy job. Not a lot of money in those smaller jobs, but look, it's what you need to do when you do get started. So as I said, you know, over at your phone, take the job, and it comes into the garage. These ones here, obviously, that are more involved of repairs. You know, if you've got to paint the car, fix damage panels, that sort of thing, then obviously the rewards at the end are more substantial. So, but look, let's get into not that button, this button. As you can see, I'm still working out all the buttons. Let's get into this restoration. As I said, I bought the Mercedes-Benz at auction last night off camera. When I brought it back here, all the parts conditioned at 46%, body condition obviously 57%, and to get the total, to get the most out of this particular build, they need to be up to 100%. Now, to give you an idea of some of the cars that you can do, they are the list of cars that I've done so far. These are all cars that I've purchased in the past rather, and these are all built up to 100%, and they're just simply sitting in the parking garages. We can just enter. Yep, we can just go over to the parking garage and have a quick look at those, so that gives you some idea of what the cars look like once they've repaired up to the 100%. Once they're repaired and restored up, as in you can paint them, you can put performance parts on them, you can take them down the racetrack, see how they run down the quarter mile. There's a test track as well. You can take them over there, and then you can either leave them in your garage and pull them out every now and again to look at, or you can sell them off for some decent bicky. So really depends on what you're looking for. My early game aim was to in fact have a fully restored car for every car that's actually in game. Now I'm going to have to purchase yet another garage slot to fit all those cars, because obviously all the DLCs that Car Mechanic 2015 put out, that's quite extensive, and I think the next garage slot is about $300,000 off the top of my head. So you purchase each garage slot as you need it. I think from memory starts off at 100,000, then 200, 300, 400, and so on as you want more and more garage slots. So that's why it's important to you know, perhaps do a mixed bag of the repairs, but you do make you more money from the restorations. Here we are in the garage, and as you can see, all these have been fully restored, and there's actually a couple of car slots there. So we'll just go back to the garage. As I just want to show you some of the cars that are sitting there. Could quite easily just pull them out and sell them off if I wanted to, but as I said, my main goal was to have those represented in the garage. Now I'm sort of hoping, I don't know whether you're still with me there, Dead Freak Show, but just just put something in chat there, mate. I'm just wondering whether the chat's actually coming. I'm just looking over, and I don't know whether the chat's coming up on screen. So if you're still with me there, brother, just put question mark, dot, dot, just some sort of something in the chat there for me, just so that I'm able to see, or whether you can confirm for me that the chat window is actually coming up on screen for me. I didn't actually look on your last message there, so I want to make sure that that chat alert is in fact coming up. Wondering whether I can duck over and just try. Whether that's going to come up or not. Why isn't that coming up? Yep. Curiouser. Yeah, it's given me a window there, so look, we'll see whether that in fact does come up. As I said, if you're able just to pop something in chat there, return to garage, and see if that actually comes up. I'll keep half an eye on it, and yeah, OBS can be a bit finicky for me sometimes. So as I said, let's get into the restoration. The first part of the restoration is taking these body panels off and repairing those up where we can, and perhaps get a respray if we wanted to, but I generally start with the body panels and the body itself, and then start looking at internal and external parts. Now the other thing I haven't mentioned is this repair body frame. Now currently body conditions at 57%, and look, if we come over to here to the basically the welder, the oxyacetylene set, and click on it, it's saying select the car. Now if you've got multiple cars in your garage, obviously you'll have multiple selections along here, but in this case we've only got one car. Do you really want to repair the bodies frame for $2,099? Yes, we do, thank you very much. And a bit of an ugly noise comes out, but once it's repaired up, as you can see, that body condition has increased. So the body condition it refers to is basically the parts that you can't take off, and we'll in fact start taking some of those body panel parts off. Indicators there. It's got sort of, I don't know what you call it, swing out wing doors. What do you call those? Suicide doors, aren't they? Isn't that what you call them? If someone can chime in and let me know what those style of doors are. That should be about it now. Again, over to our repair table, and we'll just go through and see if we can't repair those up. Now, being a restoration, I like it being 100%. So when everything's at 100%, of course your coin that you get at the end is a lot better. So we'll just go through that, and that's an ugly sound that you'll hear quite often, and that sound indicates that basically that part has been broken. So we'll just go through, and there's another broken part. Inventory and body. Now again, it's set by arrival. We want to set by condition. And let's look at Mercedes-Benz 300 SL trunk. So now this is where we actually start ordering in parts. Now a couple of ways to order in parts if you're not fully aware. The old way, if you will, is to pop over to the computer, click on the computer, and it brings up your parts ordering menu. In this case, we want the body shop, obviously, because that's the parts we want to get. Now, when you are, I mean, that's fine if you've got one or two parts. Look, if you've got multiple parts, it becomes a bit tedious walking back and forth and back and forth. Basically drives you batshit crazy. So one of the things I would recommend you to do is to invest in this tablet. Now what that enables you to do is, instead of walking back and forth, just press T for tablet, brings up exactly the same menu. So I would strongly recommend you investing in that tablet, because the that becomes very boring very quickly, walking back and forth through the computer. So let's look at what parts we need. Mercedes-Benz 300 SL trunk. Part shop. Mercedes-Benz 300 SL trunk. One of those. Now that we've bought the trunk, again we don't need that. As I mentioned before, the simplest way is to get rid of that out of the inventory, because it's no good to you. You're not going to use it anyway, so you might as well not fill up your inventory. Hold down shift and left mouse. Gotten rid of. Mercedes-Benz 300 front right door. Front right door. Here we go. Mercedes-Benz. Oh, that's 560. Mercedes-Benz 300 we want. Mercedes-Benz 300 front right door. There it is. Back to our inventory. Now that we bought the front right door, again we get rid of that. Now, more often than not, and you'll probably even find it in this particular stream, is that I'll actually purchase the wrong part. You know, and instead of purchasing the front left door in this particular case, I'll purchase the front right door. But you know, that's just one of those things. We need some windows, some headlights there in a minute. Let's just whack that on and the trunk on. Now, I don't think we did anything to the bumper because here was all fine. What about these indicators? That was fine. And here was fine as well. Now, a left headlight. Yep, no part to come out. Front bumper. So, left and right headlight. Mercedes-Benz 300 SL left headlight and a right headlight. And didn't have a front bumper, did we? No. There's a rear bumper. Mercedes-Benz 300 SL front bumper. Purchased one of those. Now, I think we're missing the rear bumper. No, the rear bumper was fine. So what are we... we're not missing anything on the body. You can see body condition now at 100%. And of course that's what we're looking for. Excuse me. Just making sure I get plenty of liquid this afternoon. I don't know what it's like in your neck of the woods, but holy snapping duck shit. I'll tell you what, it's bloody hot here at the moment. How hot? Yeah, I hear you ask. Well, I'm glad you asked that. Have to be about 43, 44 degrees locally. So yeah, it's very, very hot. And even inside here, got the air conditioner running behind me. So hopefully that's not interfering too much with the audio there. Unfortunately, I'm just going to have it on because at 43 degrees. Well, let me just have a look. With the air conditioner running here flat out, it's still 30 degrees here inside. So as I said, it'd have to be close to 43, perhaps 44 at a push outside. Now, if you live the other side of the pond, what's 44 degrees? 107, somewhere around there. Look, if you know the conversion off the top of your head, guys, just chime in either in the comment section or in chat. But yeah, I think it's around about that for those who work in as they are on the other side of the pond and working in that those sort of degrees, you know, Fahrenheit and Celsius. And so yes, needless to say, it's bloody hot outside. So. Which, I mean, you tend to expect for this time of year here in Australia, but still, it's uncomfortably hot. So those who have to go down the street, go shopping, do what you need to do outside, you tend to do it in the morning, just before the heat of the day. And if you're anything like me, during the heat of the day, you come inside under the air conditioner and play computer games. Now, if you are, speaking of computer games, and if you are into your computer games, which I'd say if you are checking this out, then I would say that you are, as I try to figure out what comes off next. Just check out the links in the description below. It's actually to AG7. It's the gaming community I've been involved with for quite some time. It's a gaming community that has evolved and developed quite well and quite dramatically. Not too sure what our membership these days are, but it'd have to be 700, 800 people these days as a membership number. Look, we play across a wide range of games, not just these sort of sim type games, but you know, FPSs and things like, you know, World of Tanks, World of Warships, World of Planes, PUBG. We've got our own server on PUBG, and we have a Sunday Fun Day nights that's open to the public. Have our own server and run PUBG comps. Let me just get these two nuts out. So if you want to be involved with that, or you enjoy your PUBG, then by all means pop on over and yeah, check out the link, and that'll give you directions to Discord, TeamSpeak, website, all those warm and fuzzy things. And yeah, hop into a game and yeah, come and enjoy the basically enjoy your passion with like-minded people. That's really what it's all about. So we're just getting in, getting these rocket arms, I think they are. Rocket arms, yep. Getting these off. Really, this part of the build, it's just a matter of getting every single part off. Even though some of these parts could well, in fact, be to a condition of 100%. I generally, especially on these restorations, like taking all the parts out, repairing them all up, and then if we want to go with performance parts, well, we can swap them out for performance parts. Let's just pop that down, because, you know, as any good mechanic would know, you always put the bonnet down before you raise it up, otherwise that's going to hit the roof. Yeah, that's my thoughts anyway. So yeah, so as I was saying, if you enjoy things like PUBG or Stellaris, and look, whatever game that you play, even if it's games like you know, golf with friends, by all means come and hang out on Discord, on TeamSpeak. I'm sure you'll find someone that has an interest in the type of game that you play. So also got a media team that was worth checking out too. A number of people are in our media team. Streamers, YouTubers, radio personnel. They got their own radio program. Pretty well, most media is covered from the media team. Not everyone does everything, of course. You know, some people might be dedicated YouTubers. Some people might be dedicated streamers. But yeah, go and check those out too. You'll find the links for that on our forums. As again, if you just follow the link in the description, it'll take you there. What are we doing? Let's go around the other side and take the parts off. Whoops. Over on this side, as you can see, those rims look very, very ordinary indeed. I won't even think about taking. I won't even think about seeing what repair value they are. Needless to say, they're pretty well sexually intercoursed. Let's put it that way. So yeah, just take it off and put it in the inventory. Take every single part off, and we can get to the repairs. Repairing up what we can repair up once we're taking all these parts off. Now all these parts do need to come off in a specific order. Like for instance, if you try to take this steering knuckle off, it won't allow you. You get that bleh. Nah, won't allow you. What that does is tells you there's other parts that need to come off before you can remove that. Inner and outer tie rods coming out now. Then that steering rack, I can rip that out. Sway bar. Now I can take the sway bar out now because obviously the sway bar is connected on both sides, but I've already disconnected what that sway bar was connected to on the other side. So once I disconnected the what it was connected to on this side, then that sway bar can come straight out. well, the upper suspension arms. Now the upper suspension, I know it looks a bit funny with that knuckle sitting out in the mid-air because it's not supported by anything, and you know, if it's IRL, then once you take that lower suspension arm off, then that front knuckle would drop to the floor and probably smash on your toe. But in the game there, it's magically held on into mid-air. Same again, this cross member, you know, we've taken everything that connects to that cross member off, and again it's just hovering in mid-air. That's just the way it is. Now, taking these oil pans off, you can do one of two things here. Either do what I normally do, which is probably not very good for the environment, but I normally take the oil pan off. And you can see the bottom right hand corner, I had an oil cleaning charge of $100. That's because I spilled all the oil on the floor. Now, that's what apprentices are for. Apprentice, go and clean up my oil. But what you can do if you don't want to incur a $100 fee is grab this oil drain can, bring it over here, line it up with the drain plug, and actually let's just assemble. Let's just put that back on for a moment. Actually, I've got to put the nuts back on just so I can show you. But what I wanted to show you is when these nuts are all on, like so, you've got a drain plug here. And by going to disassemble, if you put your cursor on the drain plug, by taking the drain plug out, the oil will run out. And if you've lined it up correctly, full in the drain or the oil drain catcher thingy, and yeah, you won't incur a $100 fee. So, but look, call me lazy. I don't care. As you can see by the dollars in the bank there, 127,849. You know, $100 either way. I'm not too fussed about. As I said, it's probably just me being lazy. But early game, you certainly want to utilise that oil can because you know, $100 early game is a lot of money. And you do that 10 times, and I mean, it does start to add up very, very quickly. So don't forget to use your oil can when you got to access the bottom of the engine here. Just taking these. What are those called again? Crankshaft bearing caps. There we go. I should know that. Taking those bearing caps off. Now the reason I need to take those off is because it won't allow me to take the pistons out of the top of the engine without taking those bearing caps off. So what we can actually do while we are... That's not a very good angle, is it? Let's try over here. Is see whether we can get some of these other bits and bobs taken out while we're got the car in the air. Now, if you are watching this stream live, thank you very much for dropping by. Certainly appreciate it. As I was saying earlier, that Car Mechanic 2015, one of the first games I've ever live streamed. Haven't been in Car Mechanic for such a long time. I thought, oh look, we'll just bash out. I don't know how long we're going to go for. An hour and a half. Sort of see how long you can put up with me, basically. And but yeah, one of the first games I've ever. Okay, I need to take that off first. One of the first games I live streamed, and look, I haven't been back to it for such a long time. So we might be in a position where we need to lower the car because we need to take that starter motor off to get the gearbox off. To get the clutch plate, you know, basically the gearbox components. And we've got to lower it anyway to take the injection driver out, as well as get those pistons out. So what I'd like to do is do as much that's possible from underneath the car, and then do as much as possible from above the car. Just saves up, you know, raising and lowering the damn car all the time. So as you see, piston with conroy, the conrod comes out with a piston, which you would expect, and we'll just take those out as you would normally remove any other part there, just by pressing and holding your right mouse button. We can take that fuel injector out, starter motor comes out, And I think that's about it. I think we need to raise it up again to get these gearbox components out. And then once those gearbox components are out, we're able to take that crankshaft out. Excuse me while I reposition myself. You know, as I said, it is quite warm here, and sitting in a warm room on a vinyl seat, yeah, you tend to work out that it's quite warm. Even though, as I said, even though the air conditioner is running and it's running flat out, the little temperature gauge here in the room is showing 29 degrees. So, you know, and especially under these lights, it's pretty warm. So, yeah, you tend to, if you're sitting in your seat for a little while, you tend to stick to your seat pretty well. Taking the flywheel out now. Now that those clutch components are out, firewheel and so forth, then we're able to take the crankshaft out, and that should leave us with a bare engine block, which it does. Now again, while we're underneath the car, we might as well start taking some of these exhaust components off and then move further down to the back here. Okay, it only had one exhaust pipe, did it? There you go. Actually, we will lower it down and take that engine block out for you, just so that for those who are sticking around, we'll take that engine block out. Basically, the heart of the engine is in fact the engine block, and then we're just left with the empty well there, of course. Hey, so what do you think of the music? If you want to chime in, it's actually a list. I presume you can hear it. Hopefully you can hear it. I've just got it on fairly low, just so that you can hear the in-game sound as well as you can hear me. I mean, you might not want to hear me. You might want to hear the music instead. But if you can hear it, just let me know in the chat box. But it's actually a list of Australian hits. So if you enjoy Australian music and Australian hits, then yes, let me know. Actually, I haven't even got it displayed on the screen. I couldn't even tell you what song that's called actually. If you're able to name that song, then yeah, just chime in the comment section. Let me know in either in chat or in the comments if you're watching this on replay, and let me know what this song's called. Now that battery there is going to be a tricky one. I always get stuck with that battery, and I'll show you if I can remember. There is a little trick to that. Again, not so much getting the battery out, but putting the damn thing back in. I do remember when the first time I did, I ended up having to Google to find the damn answers. And when we get to that, I'll show you the reason why. Because you need to click on one particular section, which opens up the install or the assembly part of it, and then you're able to click on assembly. So, but yeah, no, we'll certainly look at that when we get a little bit closer. I've just taken the remainder of these rear components off. The leaf spring U-bolts, they need to come off first, don't they, before the plate. So it's always two on each side. Then the plate, control arm, and we should be able to get that rear drive axle out as is. It is fantastic. Now, as I said, the battery part of it is quite deceiving, or quite, yeah, because as you can see, to take the battery out, saying accessible from engine bay. So you think, okay, I'll go down the engine bay. So obviously down at the engine bay here, what? There's no battery. But it did say take it out from the engine bay. Well, no, it's actually located in the boot. Now, if you want to put it back in, okay, it's gonna allow me to do it. It's gonna make me a lie. Disassemble. If I take that out and go assemble, Yeah, there we go. Okay, so say for instance we've purchased a new battery. Actually, what was that battery like? Let's go by condition, and when we find the battery, the easiest way would be to put the battery in 11%. Okay, so we need to go and purchase a brand new battery, and we'll do that straight away, just for those who are hanging around, and so you actually can see what I'm talking about. Battery. No. Are we in the right section? No, we're not. Let's go battery. One of those. Thank you very much. Pop out the inventory. Get rid of the old one. Now, to install it. Now, one would think you would click on assembly. As you can see in the top left-hand corner there, I'm now on assemble body mode, and I'm clicking now, and it won't allow me to put that battery anywhere. It's not until you... No. As I said, it gets me every time, this thing. We had it a minute ago, didn't we? There we go. So we go to disassemble mode, zoom in under it, then press assemble. See what I did then? On disassemble, as if you were taking it off. Then you click on the car, then go to assemble mode, and then put it back in. Now, you would not believe the time and energy it took me to work that out. So if you are getting stuck with that, that's how you get by that. So back to our restoration. Now all the parts are in fact taken out. We've got a parts condition of 0%, surprisingly enough, because all the parts are missing. So we just took them out. That's where we come over to the repair table, and this is where we actually start making a lot of noise, trying to repair up as much as we can. Excuse me for one minute. It sounds like there's someone at the door there, so I'll be back in about 30 seconds.
Are you looking for a mature and committed gaming community to share your passion with? Then 87 may just be what you're looking for. Boasting members from all over the world, all being able to enjoy a wide range of online games, from Battlefield 1 to Stellaris, World of Warships to World of Warcraft. So for all your gaming passions, remember 87. Links in the description below, and for all T's and C's, refer to the Code of Conduct on the forums webpage. And now?
Okay, now, as I was saying is that we're just in the process of getting those parts repaired up. Excuse me. And as I said, this is a part where we start making a lot of noise. So if you don't like that noise, I suggest you put your fingers in your ears. Now I've always not liked that sound, but it does indicate gives you an audible as to you did not succeed with the repair, part condition decreased. So basically you broke it. If this was a repair and you knew the repair value, say for instance the repair value was 80%, and in this particular case the breaks over is 83%, you would have of course used that particular part at 83%. You wouldn't try to repair it and risk breaking it. Now because it's a full restoration, I want all the parts up to 100%. So I'll just flick through, and what does get repaired up gets repaired up, what doesn't breaks basically. Now that we've repaired up everything that we can, there we go, waiting for the game to catch up. Again, sorting by condition, and this is where we slowly make our way through and purchase every part. Now the easiest way I've found, as you can see, I've just selected all, and obviously it comes up with every single part listed in the parts condition. So you know, it'll jump from brake pads to oil filters to chain sprockets. Parts are all over the shop, excuse the pun. But if you work from your right to your left hand side, it'll do each particular section. Now in this particular case we're looking at the body shop, and under the body shop we've got 2 rims that did not repair up, so we need to go and purchase 2 new rims. The other 2 should be down there somewhere. Rim 300 SLs. There we go. Rim 300 SLs. Actually we got 4 of them. I must have a couple in spares, so I must remember to keep looking at to see what I've got in spares. I might have taken some off the must have went to the strippers and taken spares off at the strippers, and then come back and fix them up. So what we can do, obviously we're going to need 4, but we don't need that one and that one, but we don't need to purchase any because we know we've got 4 in our inventory. Let's go to the gearbox now. Again, sorted by condition. Gearbox i4 RWD. Gearbox i4 RWD. Gearbox i4 RWD. We in fact we've got 4 of those. Again, must have got those parts from the strippers. So we don't need to purchase any of those. Flywheel. Let's see whether we've got any flywheels. We have not. Clutch release bearings. No. And clutch pressure plates. We have no. We haven't. So we need all 3 of those. So pressure plate, flywheel, bearing. Pressure plate, and it was just a standard flywheel, I think. Yeah. I mean, again, you could keep those. They're at, what were they, 40-45%. Some people do hang on to them and use them for their repairs. In this case, I'm not going to. So we've now finished with the gearbox there. Let's go on to the exhaust. Front exhaust sections for 300 SL. Exhaust. Front exhaust section for 300 SL, one of those. Rear muffler 300 SL. Rear muffler for, can you see it anywhere? Rear muffler for 300 SL. There we go, rear muffler 300 SL, one of those. Back to inventory, get rid of the old one. Middle exhaust pipe for 300 SL. Middle exhaust pipe 300 SL. So it's just a matter of making your way through each section. The only reason I look at them in section by section, it just the lists are a lot smaller. Just makes them easier to find. Brake calipers. So we've got 2 that are knackered there, and we've got 3 in stock. Obviously we're going to need 4 in total. Obviously 1 for each wheel, surprisingly enough. So we don't need that one, but we do need 1 more. Oops. Let's get rid of that. 1 more brake caliper. Over the brakes. Caliper, 1 off. 1, 2, 3, 4 pads. 4 pads, 2 discs and 2 ventilated. One, 2, 3, 4 pads, 2 discs, 2 ventilated. And we don't need all that snot there. So that's now got rid of all the old stuff in the brake section. Moving on to the running gear. This tends to be the area that has the most in it. So I tend to try to group them and make these groups a little bit smaller just to make it easier. So in the search, excuse me, I was just about to point as if I'm showing you exactly what you can see I'm pointing at, but I'll point with the cursor. How's that? You can see at the bottom right hand corner there, I've used the search term as front, and only the front parts come up. So 2 front springs, 2 front spring shock absorber caps. Let's go with that. Running gear, same thing. Front, 2 springs, 2 caps. Inventory, 2 springs, 2 caps. Front steering knuckle C. Now we must have one of those surely. Front steering knuckle C, we do. That we've got a C there. We've got 3 C's, so we don't need one of those because we've got 3 in stock. Sway bar front and link B's. No. Now again, your inventory list might not be as extensive as mine, so you may not need to scroll through all the parts. But again, look, if you've got it in stock, why not use it? In this case, we need to buy 2 sway bar B's. Let's go sway and 2 B's. Back to inventory, get rid of those, and a front sway bar B. Front sway bar B, and let's get rid of that. Back to running gear, because remember we've only done the front running gear. Strangely enough, we now do rear. Again, 2 springs, 2 caps, and 2 shock B's. Again, I'll use a search term as rear. 2 springs, 2 caps, and 2 shock absorber B's. B, spring, spring, cap, cap. Rear axle knuckle housing C's. Rear axle knuckle housing A's, B's. A's and B's, but no C's. Okay, so we need to purchase 2 of the rear knuckle housing C's. Rear knuckle housing C, where are you? Rear axle knuckle housing C. It was 2, wasn't it? It was 2. And a solid rear drive axle. Solid rear drive axle. Okay, so that's all the front parts of the running gear done. So the rear parts of the running gear now done. Always pays to click back on the running gear, and again, because we search by condition, it puts those with the smallest condition up the top. Again, to narrow it down, let's put in the search term of rubber. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rubber bushings. Those, and as you can see, we're now starting to get to, now we've only got 2 lines of parts that we need to order. So 2 inners and 2 outers and a spring cap. Let's just put in tie, and that should, yeah, there we go, come up with both inner and outer tie rods. So 2 inners, 2 outers, inner, outer, inner, other way around, but you know what I mean. What was that on? Spring cap. Spring cap. Do that. Wheel hubcap, 2 of. Wheel hubcap, 2 of. And double wishbone shock absorber, 2 of those. Now you can again use a search term of shock. You could put double. You could put double if you could spell correctly. So there's a number of ways that you can put in search term to come up with what you're looking for. Clicking on the running gear again, and now that we've actually got all those parts, I know I've got all the running gear parts because there's none listed here with the lower condition of 100%. So we know that the running gear is all done. Going into the engine, again, an extensive list of engine parts. And you can narrow it down by doing things like piston 2, 4, 6 pistons. Makes sense because it's a 6-cylinder. Again, back to our order shop. Put the same search term on, in rather. Pistons with conrods 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go back in the inventory. Just confirming they are the right ones because they do have different pistons in game. You could actually we'll get rid of these ones. You could in fact go into performance shop, and there's a whole list of parts there that, strange enough, assist in getting more performance out of your car. So there would be pistons with conrods in here somewhere. There we go. Pistons with conrods, the W12s as well, but the one we would have been looking for is pistons with conrod performance part. Now if you should have purchased those, every one that you purchase is 1.1% extra horsepower. So you can imagine, I mean it's only 1.1% per piston, but you can imagine if every single part was a performance part, it does increase your performance quite dramatically over all the performance. All the performance parts. So obviously you've got mufflers in there and spark plugs and throttles, and there's turbocharger there if the car's able to take turbocharge. But in this particular instance we're not using performance parts, but you could if you wish to. Back to the engine, and let's go filter. So what filters we need? Oil filter I6, fuel filter, and an air filter. Air filter W12. Use the same search term. Air filter W12, the oil filter for an I6, and a fuel filter, wasn't it? Fuel filter we just got there, the W12, the air filter, and the I6. There we go. Oil filter. Back to engine. What else can we do? Spark plugs. There's a lot of those. 6 of those, strangely enough, being a 6-cylinder. Exactly the same thing. Back into our tablet. Right. Spark. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Back to our inventory. Let's get rid of all those. What else we got left? Let's go with the cranks. Crankshaft bearing cap. We're only going to need one of those, and a crankshaft pulley for an I6. Again, using the same term. Crankshaft pulley for an I6 and a crankshaft bearing cap. That one. What else do we have a lot of? Camshaft bearings. Alright, well let's put cam in. 1, 2, 3, 4 camshaft bearings here. Now there is actually a difference between crankshaft bearing and camshaft cap. Early days I was getting confused between the two, but there is a difference. So camshaft bearing we want. Camshaft bearing. What did I say? 6, wasn't it? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it was only 4. Got 2 extras. Oh well, that'll be ready for next time. Camshaft for 300 SL. No, haven't got one. Camshaft for a 300 SL. Here we go. And a cam gear for an i6. Now I've already got 2 in stock, and it only takes 2, so we won't actually purchase another one because we don't need it. Look, we are getting closer and closer. Starter and fuel tank. Let's do those. Pretty easy. Starter. Yes, I want to do that. And fuel tank. Starter and fuel tank. Ignition distributor cap. Actually, let's narrow it down and see what other ignition parts we need. Let's just go IG ignition. Ignition distributor cap and an ignition distributor. Same thing, IG for ignition. Ignition distributor cap and ignition distributor. So there's two there. Shaboink, shaboink. And ignition wires through for a 300 SL. 3 ignition wires for a 300 SL. That one. Look, we've only got a few left. Let's wonder if we can put in belts. Nope, doesn't like that one. Timing maybe. There we go. Timing chain sprocket I6. Need 2 of. Timing chain sprocket. Timing chain sprocket. For a 300 SL, wouldn't it? No, for an I6. Timing chain sprocket for an I6. Timing chain sprocket for an I6. 2 of those. Get rid of those. And just a standard timing change for a 300 SL. Timing change for a 300 SL. Can you see it anywhere? There it is. Pan it first. Okay, water pump for an I6. Water pump for a water pump I6. Cylinder head cover 300 SL. A cylinder head cover for 300 SL. One of those. Oil pan for 300 SL. I should have actually got that when I was looking up oil, shouldn't I? That should come under oil pan. Oil pan 300 SL, yeah. Oh, here we go. Right in front of me. Oil pan for 300 SL. Intake manifold. Intake manifold for 300. Rocker arm 2 of. I thought they would come under there, but no, perhaps not. Rocker arm 300 SL, 2 of those. Serpentine belt A and serpentine belt B. Serpentine belt A. Serpentine belt A for what? Whoops. Serpentine belt. Nah. Goes there. Serpentine belt A, I6. Serpentine belt A, or I6 or 16. I'm not too sure whether it's an I6 or a 16, whatever way you would like, but we need an A and a B. Serpentine belt B for an I6. I call it an I6. It could well be 16, whatever you prefer. Wood pump pulley. Let's go back into water. Water pump pulley. Well, I thought we bought those. We'll go and buy another one just in case. Rocker arm for 300 SL. Rocker arm 300 SL, just in case. It just saves us coming back. Now that should in fact be all the engine components. So again, just clicking on all, and as the name suggests, it just comes up with all the parts, and just scrolling through them should give you, you should be able to see whether they're at 100% or not. In fact, we do have them all at 100%. Now we're ready to put the old girl back together. Assemble. Bad Boy for Love. Rose Tattoo, I believe, sings this. And did I miss something? I did. Ignition distributor cap for an i6. Ignition distributor cap for an i6. Try that again. Now these are tricky little critters, these ones. Don't forget, and this is on all the engines that you put together, don't forget about these little clips. There's always these what they call clip B's on the side here. Now this particular car isn't too bad because you can actually, if everything's put on the top of it, you can reach them without having to take everything off. But there are models of cars that you put all the you know, the air filter and turbos and things of that on the top of the engine block, and you forget about those clips, you can't reach them, and you yes, you learn very quickly not to do that, because then you need to take everything off just for 2 dirty clips, and yeah, that becomes old very quickly. Radiator going in, and again just putting in as much as I can from the top here, and then we'll put the old girl in the air and put as much as we can in the bottom. So that might be just about it for the time being, so we'll just do that. Put the old girl in the air, and we'll put all the parts that we can from underneath here. So go to assemble mode again, crankshaft going in. Now I shouldn't turn around here a little bit and get those crankshaft caps in while I think of it too. They, again, if they're not in, it won't allow you to move on. Where are we? There's one right over underneath. Sometimes it's just the angle of the dangle, just to get the angle quite right, so you can look past of some of these parts that are waiting to be installed to actually get these in. I actually looked away, did that go in? No, I didn't. So as I said, that song there was Rose Tattoo, Angry Anderson in his younger days. Those people who do like a bit of rock and roll, certainly a bit of Australian rock and roll, you may want to Google that, Angry Anderson and Rose Tattoo. These rubber bushes are much the same too. They're pesky little critters, they can catch you out. So if you get to the end of a build, or you've got a part that in your restoration that you just can't find, and it's still saying that a particular part is not fixed up to the required part level, go and check out those rubber bushes, because more often than not they are those there, and those you won't know what the condition level of those parts are unless you do one of two things: either you take them out completely, or you run the car over the test path. And once the car's run over the test path, it's only then it'll actually tell you that the rubber bushes are knackered. So again, if you're finding that you are doing a repair and that there's something that's not coming up to the required percentage level, go and check those rubber bushes. Just Getting those brake discs, pads and calipers in now. Again, putting it all back together, you can do fairly rapidly, especially once you've, I was talking about that earlier, once you've upgraded your tool, you know, fast unscrew, fast, you know, faster identification, faster installation, that sort of thing. We looked at that earlier right at the start of the video. Certainly very handy. But once we've repaired all these up, very simple process of just getting them all back together. Now, same thing when you are getting them back together. You hear that sort of donk noise that you heard when I was trying to take parts off. That indicated basically I can't take that part off until I've removed something else. Exactly the same thing here. If you try to put a part in that it's, you know, there's a part that's supposed to go in beforehand, it'll give you that same noise. Again, which indicates that no, you can't put that in yet. You need additional parts prior to installation. So just be wary of that. If you hear that donk noise, well, it means you've got to do something different. So just getting these remainder of these parts stashed away now. Spring going in now, and the spring cap. Now I'm wondering whether I can reach the clutch. Can. Woohoo! Get these clutch components, the gearbox components in fairly quickly. And it's actually surprising me, this is going in fairly quickly, so we may even be able to get this full restoration completed by the end of the stream, you know. For those who are hanging around, thank you very much for hanging around. Hopefully you are learning a little bit about Car Mechanic 2015, or if not about Car Mechanic 2015, at least you might be learning a little bit about cars in general. Now that fuel pump is always tricky to get in. You just got to be fairly close with your cursor. That's all. And the U-bolts. Now there's always 2 nuts on each U-bolt, and there's 2 U-bolts to each leaf spring plate. That's the word I'm looking for. More rubber bushes going in there. And we got the spring cap, spring, and the spring absorption cap on top of that. But have some shockies, otherwise it's going to be a bit of a shitty ride if you don't have any shockies in your car. I don't know whether there's anyone who's ridden in a car without shockies. It's not pleasant at all. So yep, best put shockies on. Otherwise our customer's certainly not going to be a very happy camper at all. Brake calipers. And once these calipers are in, then we're able to put the wheels straight over the top of that. Nice shiny wheels, certainly a little bit different, those wheels there compared to when we took them off, as you would expect. Assemble. Look, doesn't really matter where you start assembling. Again, it will give you that funny blonk noise if you try to put something in before it is ready. So as I was saying, 2 nuts to go on those U-bolts. Rubbers. Never forget our rubbers. Ladies. That was terrible, wasn't it? Anyway, spring and cap and shock absorber. Knuckle housing C and the drive axle. And then we get into the brake component. Oops, I'm missing brake components, calipers, and then the wheel over that, like so. Now from here we should be able to just about reach the drive shaft. That's 4 bolts there. Just zooming in a little bit just so we can reach these bolts down the other end. Drive shaft. Where's our... No, the exhaust is already in. Okay, still a bunch of parts missing, of course, but they look like predominantly they are engine parts. So we should be in a position where we can lower it down and get the remainder of the parts in from the top of the engine bay. So let's crack on. And pistons. I spoke about that earlier. If you want to, you can go with. Oh, aim it up properly, Firmbie. That'd be great. You can go on with performance parts if you so wish. I haven't in this particular build for no apparent reason except I just couldn't be bothered. But as I was saying at the time, that if you put performance parts in, then as the name suggests, it will increase the performance of your vehicle. So if you're looking at getting the vehicle down the quarter mile as fast as you can, I would strongly recommend that you go for performance parts everywhere, or everywhere that you can. Not every single part has a performance part associated to it, but a lot of the parts do, in fact. So where you can, go with the performance parts. So things like pistons, spark plugs, throttles, what else we got? Exhausts, turbos, things along those nature, things of that nature. So spark plugs down this side. Now, as you can see, it is a straight 6, so all the spark plugs are in one side. Exhaust manifold, like so. Cover there. A couple of screws for the cover. There's the exhaust manifold there. Why don't you screw in? There you go. It's the angle of the dangle again. We've got his throttle. What am I missing here, folks? Timing chain, sprocket, oil filter. Okay, so the belts basically down the front here. Let's get the radiator out just so you can see properly, or see better. I don't know about properly. Again, sometimes it's just the angle of the camera that's just blocks your way a little bit. So just a matter of you're using your A and D keys to spin the camera around so that you can get a better angle of what you're trying to look at. Crankshaft pulley going in now. We're on the home stretch. Certainly on this particular build, the belt's in, fan in. He's got 4 bolts, obviously. Once the fan's in, we'll just whack this radiator back in. That should be very, very close. Starter, belt, pan. Okay. So there's another belt in here that I've missed. Oh, there it is. There's that belt. Starter motor was the other thing. That's accessible from underneath it. And while we are underneath, I don't think I put the oil pan on as well. So no. Try that one. Okay, there you go. This just goes to show that the starter motor, some of them are accessible from underneath and the others from the engine bay. So look, while we're here, let's get this oil pan on, because I think this is about the third last part to go in. So we're well and truly, let's not forget about that oil filter either. I'm glad you reminded me. So there's oil filter done, the oil pan. Let's lower it, get that starter in. And we should be getting it close? Question mark? Starter over this side. There we go. Got a number of starters in our inventory. So, as you can see on the right hand side here, or actually we'll start on the left hand side here. Mercedes-Benz 300 SL, parts condition 100%, excellent. Body condition 100%, fantastic. All our parts condition as an itemised part condition on the right hand side, all at 100%. Now, you should say, oh great, we should be ready to go, Firmbie. Let's get on the road, let's sell it. Not going to work like that. What we're going to need is some oil in the old girl. Like engines in real life, engines need oil. So I think it's about $15 to whack new oil into it. Now I just fill it up until it starts overflowing. You don't actually get penalised for overflowing. As you can see, the graphic there just shows that your oil is overflowing. $20, there you go. That should be it, ladies and gentlemen. Parts condition 100, body condition 100, restoration bonus 30k, or 30,651, which gives us a car value of almost $99,000. Now, if I remember correctly, we bought it for 38 off the top of my head. So again, you can simply sell the car or put it in the garage. Now we'll just see whether we've got any Mercedes-Benz 300 SLs in the garage. If we haven't, we'll keep it. Mercedes-Benz 300 SL, we do have one of those, so we'll sell this one off and keep the cash. So a car value, as I said, $98,766. Sell the car. It should ask us, do we really want to do this? And does. Sell the car for $98,766. Shebang, wallop, done and dusted. As you see, our account balance now is $220,759. So we are getting up there, ready to purchase a new parking garage. I think we've got space for 2 more cars in our parking garage, but then we'll be targeting to buying another garage. I mean, that's further on down the track, but as you can see, you need $300,000 to buy it. So we're well and truly on our way to that target. So alright guys, thank you very much for your company. Certainly do appreciate you hanging around. Look, if you are seeing this on replay, then by all means pop a comment in the comment section whether you liked it, whether you didn't like it, whether there's something in particular that you want to see here in Car Mechanic 2015. A particular car that you want taken out, particular car that you want to paint it a particular colour. Look, anything that you want to see in Car Mechanic 2015, by all means whack it in the comments section below. With that guys, thank you very much for your company, and I'll look forward to it in the next one.